So we're back in Skyhold, obviously. I did a lot of stuff, including inventory management and all of that fun stuff. So we're not going to worry about any of that. I've dyed some gear, got that whole boring section out of the way. But now we're just going to start the next zone, because you didn't really need to, like, I didn't talk to anybody. All I did was just go and do all my inventory stuff. You don't need to see that. What you can see is some of the stuff that we've gotten done that we haven't been able to look, like a cultured exchange, right? Like, this is the Avar thing. So we sent the Avar there. Right, and then we have appealed to the Shaperit, which we appealed to the Shaperit for. Hey, we're gonna master Demon Slaying rune, right? It's pretty cool. What else did we get? Conspiracy of Dunces. I don't think we did anything else. So maybe there is... the problem is I may have completed a few of these. But whoa, a missing assassin. Dear Liliana, your Inquisition is working with the crows. I guess only because I may have removed one of the assassins from your employ. If I'd known the man was yours, I would have at least let him finish the contract, no matter. Oh, okay, so this is from Zevran. Right. Damn you, Zevran. Zevran would be a useful ally. We can funnel resources to him while nominally maintaining our alliance with the crows.
Let's see what we have.
Sure. We can work with Zevran. Why does it seem like everybody kind of works together? You know what I mean? Like, it's... should we do this? Yeah, let's send Josephine on that. Anyways, it's funny how, like, everybody from the old games is like, oh, hey, there's this thing with the Inquisition. I'd love to do the Inquisition thing. And then they join us. Too grisly to bear. I think I know exactly what this is about. Inquisitor, I have found an old Avar warrior familiar with the care and treatment of hold beasts. It was not cheap. After I persuaded him to take the job, he insisted I meet Storvacker myself. The creature mistook the lining of my coat for a bear scruff and licked me. The Avar was much amused, saying the Storvacker must think I'm a cub with mange. Despite this, I've thought of a use for the beast. Let us send a batch of soldiers, along with this warrior and Storvacker, to other Avar holds, to demonstrate the might of the Inquisition. We may take some allies with the Avar, and the Avar can help us patrol the mountains. No one else knows the prospects. Yeah, Colin, I would prefer we keep our new friend out of harm's way. Let us find a cave for Storvacker until her service with us is complete. Or at least, let me at least profit from the humiliation and send Storvacker with our soldiers to impress other Avar. Do it, Colin. Right, let's just get on it. We do not have this done. Liliana's spies have discovered orders from the Venatori. High-ranking commanders, a large number of mages are traveling westward to excavate something of great value to our cause. The Inquisition must find whatever its enemies are searching for. The region is vast, but Liliana is ready to put her network to use in tracking down Corypheus' minions. Right, and we'll get another pop-up. The Venatori are camped at a place known as the Hissing Wastes. They're working their slaves to death, digging old buildings out from the sand. The Inquisition should step in quickly, because if it doesn't, I'm going to bash the Venatori's heads in. And you'll need a new scout. Lead Scout Harding. Yes, I would like to venture forth. What team? Well, I did gear out a few other people for this, including Vivian. And I kind of want to bring Varric, but I need to upgrade his weapon. We'll get there with him. So instead, we may do Sarah. So Vivian and Sarah, because honestly, they're interactions are hilarious.
Any luck charting the area?
I did what I could, Your Worship. This space has nothing but space. If there's nothing valuable here, I say let Corypheus have it.
Well, I mean, there must be something, right?
Corypheus wouldn't send out his followers unless it was worth it.
I did find something for you. Old dwarven ruins on the surface. Impossible, but there you go. The Venatori are excavating them, with the help of their slaves.
Whatever they want, we must beat them to it.
I just saw Venatori northwest of here. They might be a good start. I found this map on a dead one. Maybe it shows where they're headed. Good luck.
Right. Okay. Wow, that was a quick conversation with her. Ocularum. There's signposts, pillars. Oh, wow. Everybody leveled up. I guess that makes sense, though. Right. Sarah, what could we give you? That would be amazing. It looks like we may very well just go with, trying to get her ambushed, because armor penetration is really, really good. So we'll just give her that for now. Vivienne, I haven't leveled you up in a very long time, so let's do a bit of that. We'll give her that. What else should we give her? Probably these. These are all really good. Boom, boom, boom. Give her Fire Mine, a Searing Glyph, and upgrade Wildfire. I think that would be good. And what I'm going to do... Wow, that was loud. And what we're going to do is we're going to take Revival, as weird as that sounds, and replace it with Fire Mine. We'll have her go full fire here. And tactics, I want her to utilize Fire Mine as much as she can. Is there anything else that I should put to preferred? Probably Barrier. Okay. Good. Right. Inquisition officer, requisition officer.
Inquisitor, if you have a moment.
Yeah, go for it.
What is it?
Could prove useful, sir.
As you can tell, I gave Vivienne some new gear. Sure. Dwarven artifacts, Dwarven vase, Dwarven plate, Dwarven dragon statue. Whatever. Mount. Get over here. I actually know exactly where I'm going. I've got the map in front of me. I have a pretty good idea of where most things are in this wasteland, but as you can tell, it's very big. Oh, and you see that like rock formation way off in the distance, like right over there? You totally go all the way over, like this, you go there. That's how big this zone is. This zone is massive. Yeah. I've said it before. I'll say it again. This is just one of those zones that you'll come across in the game. They're just so massive and have really very little effect on the main story. Come on, come on, come on, you can do it. You got it. Thank you. Have very little effect on the main story, but are still very much, you know, a place that you should explore. Poor horse. If only because it's amazing. I mean, this place is amazing, let's be honest. Loot. I will take that. Ooh, got my dwarven plate. Right, I need to jump down here. Yeah. Poor horse. We're gonna have to backtrack anyways. I'm gonna have to go back the way I just came. Horse, go over here. And find all these. There should be one there. There's only two, so probably the other one is there. I'm like a well-oiled machine. I know exactly where to go. Boom. Okay, come here, horsey. Good. I should probably quickly mention that I knew like at the beginning of October that I wanted to get this game done by November 10th. That still may happen, but we're cutting it kind of close. It may have some overlap with Fallout 4, and I think that's fine. But in particular, this last week, me, Garrick, and Six Pounder were all down in California together, which is really cool, at an event put on by My.com, which is the publisher for Skyforge and Armored Warfare. which is a game that is made by Obsidian. Most of you know who Obsidian is. Really well-known RPG developer. Their first game ever was KOTOR 2. They also did Fallout New Vegas. More recently, they've done Pillars of Eternity and Armored Warfare they've been working on for a few years now, and it finally just went into open beta. Oh, Liliana's ready to report in. So, yeah, we went down to a launch event for... I call it a launch event. Well, actually, that's what they called it, but honestly, the game didn't launch. It's just that both Skyforge and Armored Warfare have gone into closed beta this year, and it was their little event. Armored Warfare was the most recent one. It's their little event to just celebrate the quote-unquote launches of those games, soft launches. And especially because, you know, you're in both of those games, there's no more wipes happening, like as standard in a normal beta. So, yeah, it was cool to go down there and see that, but because we were down there, we didn't get a chance to make any more Dragon Age videos because I had the Skyforge videos going out. So I'm happy to say that we're back. It was an amazing time. You'll be hearing about it soon if you haven't already. We have a couple videos going out about that stuff because we got to see some exclusive content coming up for Armored Warfare, which is a game I hadn't previously played until going to the event. Got to play it there. Turns out it's incredibly good. Really, really fun, actually. It's one of those weird games that like resonate with how I like to play games. The fun that I tend to have. Which ones should we cleanse? It's Vivian. Where's Cassandra? Okay, she's right there, so I could get... I don't think I could get a twofer. No, but I could get at least the one behind her. And we can run over to Cassandra. Have her dubstep here. Boom. Okay, good. Oh, yep, perfect. Die, Despair Demon. They died fast. This zone is going to be very quick for us. There's another one there that just died. There were 2 Despair Demons there. Both of them dead. Oh, me and Cassandra totally match now, by the way, color-wise. Did that on purpose. We're awesome. There's only 3 Fade Rifts here? Oh, it's got to be like in the southern part, because I'm looking at the map. There's a lot of Fade Rifts. Let's get that one, and then we'll go up. What we'll do is we'll get these 4 Fade Rifts. There's a camp to establish there. There was something with that, and there's a logging station. So we'll kind of get like all of this bit done, because that's also a camp. And then we'll move on to kind of this bit on this side. But this is a very big zone. Yeah, there's a lot to do here. Anyways, yeah, we got to see exclusive content for Armored Warfare that we were embargoed for, so at this current time of making this video, I can't talk about it, but I will be able to in the near future. So that's why you didn't have any Dragon Age videos, which is probably just solidifying the fact that this is going to cross over a little bit with the time frame of Fallout 4. No biggie, though. No biggie.
It's a pleasure to see a new face.
Wow.
Watch out for those Tevinter mages.
Whoops. No.
Keep your water
Sorry.
handy.
Can I talk to her? Sorry.
Fine night.
Yeah, fine night indeed. Look how big that moon is. It's an unrealistically big moon. Or is that a planet? Does the world of Thedas have moons, or does it have other planets? Interesting. I'll talk about that in a second.
Anything I should look out for?
Watch out if you have to fill your water skins. There's more monsters than normal staking out the oasis.
Right? What does Venatori want?
Do you know what the Venatori mages are doing here?
Arguing amongst themselves, mostly. I think they're trying to find a way inside that tomb with the 2 statues. It's locked tight as far as I can tell.
Why come out here for game? What do you hunt?
Not game. I bring back fine furs and shiny teeth they cut and sew in Orlais. I'm not the only hunter here. Val Royal is always hungry for the best. You can make a fortune feeding that beast. Quillback spines, for example. All the fashion for men's hats last winter.
Duke Kellington was responsible for that little fad.
Give him my thanks. They sold for 50 gold a dozen.
Wow. Okay. Goodbye.
Farewell.
I
Your
realized...
bar handy.
Yes, I realized I totally did not level up Cassandra, so we'll give her... there was a passive. Which one was it? Oh, that one. Boom. Done. Okay. Right. Moving on. We're going that way. Yeah, that moon. I don't... If it is a moon, it could be a planet. That's the thing. I've always been really interested in space. Let me put that out there. Like, sci-fi is probably my thing. Who are you? Hello?
Greetings.
Ours shall be the burden of knowledge, to take into the earth and prove us worthy.
I did not expect to find a pilgrim here. A chanter, even less.
The righteous shall carry the Maker's word to every corner of his house.
Have at it, Weirdy.
Okay, then. Anyways, I've always really been into sci-fi. If I had to say there was one genre that is, like, my genre that I'm interested in, it's not fantasy, it is definitely sci-fi. I do like fantasy, which is why Star Wars tends to be a really popular thing that I consume. You know, any type of Star Wars stuff. I'll talk about that in a second, because Star Wars is technically not sci-fi, it's fantasy sci-fi. And the reason that is because, and I've explained this before, Star Wars just has a magical sense to it, in the form of the Force, and the way that the epic is told in the form of Star Wars is very fantasy-esque, despite the fact that it is also set in a sci-fi universe. Interesting, isn't it? I find it interesting, at least. Anyways, that being said, that's why Star Wars tends to be something that I really enjoy, because it covers both fantasy and sci-fi, despite the fact that I tend to sci-fi a lot more. I'll get to Star Wars in a second, but that moon planet thing right there, what I was saying was that because I'm interested in sci-fi, I am then interested in astronomy, not astrology, right? There's a difference there, astronomy. Interested in the stars and space, basically. That being said, I have done quite a bit of research on this kind of stuff. That right there, like if I'm looking at that, obviously, let's take the fact that it is obviously a picture of a planet that they have put into the game. Let's just take that and put that aside, right? Let's assume for a second that this is a real planet outside of this real planet that we're currently on. First thing to mention, it would actually make this planet uninhabitable by its current inhabitants. Humanoids, you know, elves, dwarves, anything that's humanoid probably could not live on this planet because of that being so close. The gravitational pull alone would cause things to look really weird, you know? I'm not talking like Darkspawn weird, I'm talking like super low to the ground, not huge legs, not tall bodies, because the blood has to be pumped from the heart to the head down to the legs, you know, things that like crawl against the ground, right? Like that's really what I'm talking about here. Why did I just go into combat with that thing? By the way, now I'm out of combat with that thing. Oh wait, no, this is a Venatori camp. Where the heck am I on my map? Yada yada yada. Okay, I just got that logging camp. This is definitely a Venatori camp, but I don't think there's actually anything here. According to my map, there's nothing here. Well, let's kill him anyways. Anyways, let's also put aside the fact that having that planet or moon or whatever it is that close to this planet would drastically change the way the biology of things on this planet would actually be. They would not be humanoid. It's just it couldn't happen. Yeah, the gravitational pull alone would cause a lot of like instability on the planet in forms of earthquakes, volcanoes, and on both sides too, not just this planet, but also that planet. Oceans wouldn't really work the same way. It's just there's a lot of stuff that would change. Put all that aside as well. if we just look at that planet and say, okay, is it a moon or a planet? Well, the size of it makes you go planet, but the geography of that makes you go moon. Why do I say that? Well, it has a lot of craterous materials on the surface. See a lot of craters. There's one there, there's tons there, there's a big one there, there's another big one there. You can consider that a crater right there, which suggests that it gets a lot of meteorites running into it, which, in layman's terms, suggests moon.
Close to hope when they went. Poor souls. Andraste guide them to the Maker's side.
Poor little... Stupid well isn't a well. It's just a hole.
Yeah. I mean, you look at, for example, you look at our moon for Earth. The moon is typically pretty craterous, simply for the fact that it helps absorb incoming projectiles to Earth, right? It acts as some kind of like deflectant, because as things are being sucked in by the gravitational pull of Earth, they are then affected by the moon, sucked into the moon, and the moon catches it. That's something that happens fairly frequently in solar systems. So you look at that and you go, okay, well let's assume then for a second that that's a moon. That moon may not be as big as we
So you are
think it is.
78 in line to the Navaran throne, Cassandra. That is rather far off. Even so, many enjoy the idle life afforded by the most distant of titles. You could have been provided with every luxury if you'd remained in that life.
I am ill-suited to finery, Vivian. Besides, I can accomplish more as I am now.
You pursued duty and responsibility, a path that took you next to the Sunburst throne. Well played.
I try to do the Maker's work. Where I stand while doing so is unimportant.
You must admit, it does help.
Don't get to hear their conversations very often. That's kind of cool. Anyways, yeah, let's assume that it's a moon. It might be a lot closer than our moon, which is why our moon looks so small, despite it being fairly large. It just might be a lot closer. That could have the idea that maybe Thedas has a really strong gravitational pull, which is what's pulling the moon, that moon right there, closer, but the sun in the solar system, the star in the solar system, pulls it just far enough away that it doesn't collide with the planet. There's a lot of astronomy things that go into that. At the end of the day, though, you know what that is? That's an artistic choice to make this zone look cool. And I hate when they do that, because I really like RPGs. And many of you know, like, I'm really into things that are CRPGs. So like Wasteland 2 and the new Shadowrun games and stuff like that. Those games typically, heck, even like things like Fallout 4, they typically go into as much detail as that. Like, why are the stars and the moon and everything in the solar system the way they are to make the life on their planets the way that they are, right? Like, Shadowrun doesn't technically count because it's technically on Earth. It's just a weird version of Earth where something happened and magic. Look, doesn't really matter. Either way, what I'm saying is I hate when they just kind of throw things in there for artistic choice. I want to know, like, the story behind that game. Like, what is it? What is it even? What should I expect? You know, maybe in the future, and this is the sci-fi me part of, or the sci-fi part of me talking rather. It's like, what if you know, get to go there in some form or another through like a mage that teleports you there, and there happens to be like a whole like thing on that additional body within the solar system that is connected with this universe this entire time. Like, maybe it's the reason the Fade exists is because of some like form of thing on another planet. Like, that would be so cool, and they could do that kind of thing fairly easily if they didn't just throw it in there for artistic choices. Kind of sucks, but it looks cool. It certainly looks cool, and it's got a good what's the word? there's a very
We should
specific
look
word for
around.
it. Profile? I think yeah, like a zone profile, like when you remember what this zone is, like when people tell you like, oh hey, yeah, I did that desert zone, that's at the night, and you're like, oh yeah, the one where like you can see really far, it's super big, and in the distance is those like the rock things, and then you got the moon. They're like, yeah, that one's really cool, and you're like, yeah, like that's all that's there for. That was a non-rant rant. Like I didn't rant, but I totally ranted. Funny how that works. Right, we have 2 shards, we have a quest, we have a camp. I believe there's something right there-ish. It might be another rift. We're gonna find out real soon here as we start getting closer. Because that's one thing with this zone, is because it's in the dark and it's kind of mysterious in some form, you kind of get that like glow of the rifts as you get close, that green glow. There it is. By the way, this zone totally looks beautiful. Like there's no doubt about that. A lot of that's the night thing. Because it's at night, they don't necessarily have to render so much. They don't have to render. Actually, I want to say that they don't have to render lighting effects because nighttime is really hard to get right, lighting-wise. You might think like, oh, you don't put any light into a nighttime thing because there is no light, right? When it's dark, there is no light. That would make sense. But that's not the case. They're actually, it's really difficult to get shadows right during the nighttime stuff. So that's not what's making this zone necessarily perform really well. Like I'm running at like 80 frames per second, which is really nice. I like that. But despite the fact that it's so big, you would think the performance would be a lot lower. It's an issue open world games have with performance. Because they're open world, they tend to have subpar performance just by the very nature of it being an open world game. You have to render more scale distance and everything. But I think it's because it's dark, you don't have to necessarily render as far. Like that's more or less just like a shadowed, very low texture thing. And because it's dark, you can't tell that it's a low texture. It's very clever. I like the way, and I like figuring out the way that game companies do this kind of stuff, because it's really interesting to me. It goes to my analytical mind that I have. I like knowing how people figure out solutions to problems, and this is a very clever one, if you ask me. Venatori everywhere, but at least we get to establish a camp after we kill these guys. There are ruins here. Whoa! Are those the pillars? Wait. Okay, so we got that map, right? We got that map. There were some pillars at the bottom. Then there was like a ocularum in the middle, and then there was something at the top. What do you want?
Nothing to report, sir.
That was it? That's... Damn you. Okay, I can loot them. Nice. So, are these those are definitely the pillars. Okay, we're gonna have to take a look at that kind of stuff. Take that. Sand-covered note. Lephis, I expected the wagon we sent out to the canyons to return to the watchtower by evening. It is now past noon. That it does not take half a day to travel from camp to be obvious. Right. Take archers with you. The spiders in the canyon seem to fear nothing. Okay. So basically there was a thing that I get to go get in a canyon. The work goes well, but if we're bound to follow sooner or later, I set watch on higher ground, yada yada yada. If you're looking for Harmum, he's looking for the tomb to the west. There's no quest there, despite it being on my map, which means it is down below. Ooh, I can loot that. Nice. Oh, we just have the statuette to do. Okay. It's not too hard. Claim. I guess we're gonna go check out the temple. If we can even open it. I think it's open. It is. Good. Well, what the heck quest is this?